Hi there. I'm going to review Die Hard with a Vengeance. This movie came out in 1995. And sort of like, sort of like the other two movies, it is basically John McClane dealing with usual police problems. Very much, I think, a little overkill. Can't imagine a real cop having this problem today. Nonetheless, this movie is quite a bit different. Actually, this movie is a little bit different than the other two movies. Um, Kind of features a sort of totally different style to it too. It's got the brother supposedly of the villain of the first movie, Jeremy Irons plays Simon, and Simon is the brother of the main character from the first main villain from the first movie. And it's kind of an interesting movie. This movie is much different than Die Hard 2. This feels more like a definite follow up to Die Hard in the sense that it feels like a movie that transcends its time. It doesn't feel at a date. Die Hard 2 feels a little out of date for its time. Samuel L. Jackson plays Zeus. I guess Graham Greene is in this movie too. He is in the movie, although he's not in there that much. He gets credit. Big credit. Must have been partially filmed in Toronto or something. I don't know. This movie is pretty good. There's not really much to complain about with it because it's got the typical action flair. It's got the amusements of Die Hard, and basically, you know, Bruce Willis as John McClane as ever. Starts out with a fairly simple scene, people driving around in what is supposed to be New York City, and there's a huge explosion. Of course, the cops are getting into that, and they say, "What happened?" And of course, they find out this guy is trying to do stuff. And also John McClane gets on the phone, and the guy wants John McClane, of course, because they don't know who he is. He just says Simon, and Simon says John McClane wants. They need John McClane. And he wants John McClane to put a sign on himself saying, "I hate people. I hate people in Harlem, New York," particularly. Of course, in 1995, Harlem, New York was basically a black neighborhood. He wants to have a wonderful sign up for him, and that's supposed to be the trigger for all these people. The hope is that he gets beat up real good. Doesn't actually get beat up at all. Instead, befriends the local, I forget what the heck he was, grocery store owner. Samuel L. Jackson plays Zeus. And Zeus and him more or less start doing things together because I guess that's the whole joke of the movie is that they get involved. And of course, how can you keep Samuel L. Jackson off as a side character? He's of course going to be in this movie. And it's honestly, I just love it. I just love Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's best. It's the best thing ever. Awesome movie. I don't know. I think actually, I don't know if it's actually as good as Die Hard, but you know, it's got a different style to it. It's very basically Simon wants to steal bearer bonds from the Federal Bank in New York. That's what he's looking to do. So he's looking to steal their bearer bonds. Not sure exactly why he's trying to steal bearer bonds from this place because honestly, that money is not going to be worth anything once you take it. Because the moment somebody takes it, it's not going to be worth having any actual literal value because they'll know exactly where it's coming from. But but of course, in this type of movie, it's going to be worth a lot. It's what is it, $500 billion or something like that? I think that's what the number was. I don't really remember. It doesn't matter. It's a huge amount of money. It's supposedly the backup money for the U.S. Federal Reserve. That's supposed to be, except that it's not really enough money. But nonetheless, back at that time, even the U.S. defense budget wasn't $500 billion yet. This movie does a pretty good job of establishing the low key common denominators of having the usual frenzy. Um, the guy who plays Samuel Jackson kicks off a really good movie here. They go through the zones. There's one cute, cool thing about dealing with water jugs. he needs a certain amount of liters, and of course they got a, what is it, a 3 liter and a 1 liter, and that's the point. Is that yeah, it's a nice touch of a movie. It doesn't really have. It's got a nice little ending. I think the only real problem with this movie is just the fact that they're using a construction crew to get access to it. But nonetheless, I mean, this is the last of the actual original Die Hard movies. And the original Die Hard movies have a certain style to them before they went off. Actually, this is like the ending of all the original action movies. You had Die Hard, you had Lethal Weapon. And I think there was another movies franchise that kind of ended off at the same time. But one could argue that the Alien franchise kind of ended off in the same time period, rough mid to late 90s. And that's where you get movies like this, is that they ended up with a fairly good, like a really good send-off movie. Of course, they had to ruin it and make a Live Free and Die Hard with movie where John McClane stops being simply a cop. He starts turning into an action hero. In this movie, they keep it more low key and low toned. It's not too bad. I don't know. There's really nothing to really say about it. It's a great movie. I think what the I don't know. It takes a while for him to find out that this is the brother of Hans Gruber. Eventually finds out, and that's when he finds out why this guy has a problem with him. Because he says, "I don't know why he has a problem with me. I don't know this guy." And then he says, "Oh, I'm the brother of Hans Gruber." He's like, "Oh, okay, that explains a lot." But nonetheless, it's been numerous years since the first film, so it technically shouldn't be that big of a deal. Nonetheless, I think this movie is a close. I don't know. The Die Hard movies exist in their world of not really too sure which to pick as the best. Honestly, I think this one might be the best of the batch because it has the most modern feel to it for a regular Die Hard movie. But nonetheless, the Die Hard movies all have their style. And this movie is no different, with the sense that he's got to solve a bunch of puzzles because Simon says do this, do that. So yeah, that's basically where this movie, I think, runs into a small problem, is that it's the unbelievable storytelling. They kind of had to do a bait and switch. Oh yeah, there was one involving a bomb too. There was a bomb to fix. They had to try and figure out how to defuse this bomb, only to find out it was like a distraction. And that's when you get the realization of what's actually going on. New York NYPD is having a little bit of trouble figuring out what to prioritize here, because they only go with what they can immediately see. Whereas John McClane thinks that he might be able to find out more, but I think that's the only problem with this movie, is that it's the third movie, so John McClane's used to this kind of stuff by now. He knows what's coming. He knows what's going to happen. He more or less is more or less accustomed to these people. But it's kind of funny. He's got bombs all over the city too. Like, if they don't defuse these bombs, there's gonna be problems. Of course, it's all a side story. He's trying to get access to reserve notes, and that's the whole point. It's a pretty good movie. I think I don't think there's a lot of weaknesses in it. It's just a really good movie. Really nice movie to watch. It's a typical action movie of the 90s. I think that's the biggest thing about it, is it feels more up to date than the other movies. Like, that's the thing, is that it's got a very 90s feel. The other two movies have a fairly 80s feel still to them. Whereas in this movie, you suddenly have a very 90s-ish feel. And of course, everything feels more up to date in this movie. It's actually rather amusing. Of course, John McClane has to break traffic rules about 6 dozen times in this movie because, of course, you gotta speed around and find things. But it's not too bad. Again, like nice, almost near perfect action film. I don't know. They end up figuring out the problem. They end up dealing with the problem properly. It doesn't really. I mean, what do you say? It's just like Die Hard, where eventually John McClane gets through the treasure trove of bad guys until he gets to the end, to the main man. And that's basically the point. Not too bad. But yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Really good movie. Probably the best one, actually. Hard to say. Yeah, there it is. Oh.